They say it takes a village to raise a child, but who's supporting you?
At Tambakis Physiotherapy, we, Harris and Angelique, provide expert family centered care. From injury rehab to postpartum recovery or simply feeling confident to move again, we're here for you.
Come visit us in our Padstow clinic and mention Wita sent you.
Hello, and welcome to Wine with Rita, the podcast that is dedicated to engaging with health professionals and caregivers in meaningful discussions. I'm your host, Rita Shamoon, or as my clients call me, Wita. I'm a pediatric speech pathologist, and I am so excited to have you here. Each week, we deep dive into connecting you with caregivers and healthcare professionals, sharing their insights, stories, and key takeaways to help you with your child's diagnosis and your journey. Whether you are a parent, healthcare professional, a lifetime learner, or simply a wine enthusiast, you're in the right place. So let's sit back and relax and enjoy today's episode. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Wine with Wita. Today, I have another real story of an amazing mother, a disability advocate, and a superhero. I am graced with the beautiful Anna Adoncello. Welcome to Wine with Wita, Anna, tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Anna, the way that I approached you may seem quite stalker like. And for those who know me personally, know that when I see an opportunity, I just take it. I don't hold back because I see a mission to share someone's story. Now, I vividly recall on Holy Thursday, I was going through the gram and Hugo's journey popped up on my page. And I was like, okay, let me just keep an eye on this Hugo. Is this something I should share? And then Hugo kept popping up. Then this gorgeous young boy's infectious smile and contagious laughter just drew me back to his page. And I just saw that as the God or the universe telling me, I need to share this young boy's journey. And this is where it led to this episode this evening with gorgeous Anna. So Anna
Thank
is a
you.
mother to Hugo and who has a diagnosis of CP, cerebral palsy, and she's here to share her own personal journey and what she has done to support her child, Hugo, on his remarkable intervention journey. So Anna, please tell the listeners who you are, about beautiful Hugo, and we'll talk more a bit after that.
Sure, not a problem. So I'm Anna, and my partner Patrick and I, we've been together for a very long time, and we have a beautiful 3-year-old named Hugo, who, as you mentioned, has a very infectious smile and contagious laughter, which everybody mentions and comments on that all the time. And yeah, Hugo has cerebral palsy. He actually has spasticity, quadriplegia, CP, which affects both his arms and his legs.
Now talk to me when firstly, let's talk about your pregnancy with Hugo. What was that
Sure.
like for you?
I had a very good pregnancy. The first trimester, very nauseous, no vomiting, no morning sickness like that, but just very eating plain foods. Second trimester was fine, and then third trimester was fine as well. Hugo was a Frank breech baby, so he was head up and bum down and was in that position the whole pregnancy. So
Yeah.
I had a planned cesarean because I had a 60% chance of him not turning if they had done the ECV where they turn them.
Yeah.
And yeah, the pregnancy was fine, like no complications during delivery. Obviously, when you have a Caesar baby, they do get a bit shocked. He was a bit shocked, but then he was fine afterwards. So yeah, my pregnancy was pretty good.
So talk to me through those early motherhood days where you're recovering from your C-section, trying to figure out breastfeeding, trying to understand these emotions and hormones that you're experiencing. What was that like for you?
That was really hard. I really struggled the first 2 weeks. There were times where I would stare out from my window saying to my partner, I want to go back to my old life. I found
Mm,
breastfeeding really, really hard. I unfortunately couldn't breastfeed. I tried, he just didn't latch on. So then I started giving him formula, and I gave him formula the day he was born because
mm,
my milk hadn't come through, and I just felt like I was letting people down, because they say, breast is best. And I
mm.
just felt like I was letting people down that I couldn't breastfeed, and that really, I wanted to give it a try and I couldn't do it. And I remember telling my midwife, like when she came over for the final visit, I broke down. I said, I can't do this. Like, I can't breastfeed him. And she was like, that's okay. Like, you do whatever you think is right for you. Like, no, don't worry about what society is telling you to do.
Mm,
And honestly, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulder, and I was like, "You know what? This is my baby, like, if he needs
yeah.
a bottle, that's fine, like, he's perfectly fine." And so, yeah, and it was really good because there was times where my partner could feed him, or
Mm.
family members could feed him, and then I could go and do something for myself because I
Yeah,
just felt like I was with this newborn baby, waking up all throughout the night. And it's just like sometimes you forget about yourself. So that was really handy having someone feed him. And my partner was so good because he would wake up in the middle of the night and feed him while I sleep. So we just take turns. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, like that was really good. And then we later found out he had a tongue tie, so that's why he couldn't latch on.
Yeah, couldn't
Yeah.
latch on. Did you
Yeah.
get it released?
Yeah, I got it released when he was 4 months old
Yeah, yeah,
because
that would have helped. Mm.
when I had Hugo, it was COVID. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So you felt isolated because of COVID, but then you also
Yeah.
felt isolated with the pressure that you put on yourself with that breast is best notion, and then you eventually found out one of the reasons why he had trouble latching on, which I think would have given you some comfort too, to know that it wasn't necessarily your own doing or your own supply.
100%, 100%. And I like felt pregnant during COVID. So I felt pregnant and then
Mm,
COVID hit. And so when he was born, it was literally COVID.
lockdown. Yeah.
So that was hard. And like at that time, we were able to see our families as well. So
Yeah.
had I had him a year before, I think that would have been really hard, especially because
Mm,
I suffer anxiety as well. So I feel like that would have like really stressed me out not having my support, like people. Like I have my partner, but
mm.
like I need my mum.
You need your mum. Yeah.
I do.
Everyone needs their mum. Yeah. Everyone
Exactly,
needs their mum.
exactly. You need
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
person. Yeah. So being able to find out that he had a tongue tie made sense as to why I couldn't breastfeed.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
but yeah, I tried. I exclusively expressed as well, so he was getting both. It wasn't until he was 2 weeks old that he was admitted to hospital. So
mm.
when I was pregnant with Hugo, actually, I forgot to mention, they noticed he had a dilated kidney. So they had to
Okay.
monitor that. Yeah, so basically his wee would go in the kidney and sit there where it's meant to be
Mm,
released. So they had to monitor that when he was born as well. And so at 2 weeks of age, he came down with a 40-degree temp. And, as any
mm,
mom, you're like freaking out. And, going back to COVID, it was during, sorry, it was during COVID. And I had to get admitted to hospital with my 2-week-old baby, no support person. And I
oh,
was like to
darling, that
them,
would have been
I
hard.
need my support
Yeah.
person. Like, I'm my son's support person.
Mm,
I need mine. And they were so lovely. Like, I took him to RPA, that's where I had him, and they were so good. My partner came, and because Hugo was in hospital, I tried to breastfeed and I tried to express. And because of that stress, I lost my milk then. So from then
mm.
on, he started straight onto
Yeah,
formula.
no. Yeah. Thank you for your honesty because as a
That was
mum,
hard.
I
That's
struggled
okay.
breastfeeding with my eldest, and that made it really hard. And yeah. And I feel like many mothers listening to this podcast, it's fine that sense of relatability that, yes, let's start having these conversations. And this is where Wine with Wita came about. We need to start sharing more real stories so people can relate to it so they don't feel
100%.
isolated, but also having a sense of belonging too.
Yeah, definitely. And like when I remember like going to like the community health center, like down the road, and they were so lovely. But then you'd get some other women, they were like so why are you not breastfeeding? And I was like, well, this is why I
Mm.
can't breastfeed. And they were just like, I felt booby shamed. And after
Yeah.
that, I was like, I'm not going here
What a great
anymore.
word to use, though.
Like, I know, they booby shamed me, and I was like, I'm not doing this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing what I think is best for my child. And
Yeah.
yeah, formula was best, and he loved it. So I was like, you know
Yeah, my
what?
darling.
As long as you're happy, that's okay. Like, and you know what? Like, my mental health was so much better as well.
Yeah. That's so good to know. That's so good to
Yeah.
know. So let's start talking about Hugo's gross and fine motor development because
Sure.
it would have impacted his ability to sit, would have impacted his ability to stand. Let's start talking about what signs did you start to notice where you thought, this doesn't feel right? And how did you go about that with seeking the additional support?
So we knew fairly on when he was little that he hated tummy time. He really
Okay.
struggled lifting his head up, and I was like, oh, maybe he was just too comfortable being in the breech position because he came out with his head a little tilted.
Yeah.
And we like really monitored that. And then it wasn't until he was maybe like 5, 6 months old, he still really struggled. And so then I started seeing my mum's neighbor, who is a physiotherapist, pediatric
Mm.
physiotherapist, and she started giving me like some exercises to do with him. And then, so we continued to do that. And then as, he came to like 8, 9 months, the 6 months, you start noticing he's not really like, he always had his hands in a fist like this. He would never
Mm.
open them out. Um, so noticing that even like trying to sit, he would wobble and fall over. So we noticed a few of those things, and we started seeing a chiropractor to start off with. And then soon after seeing the chiropractor, he started going to Full Potential, where he currently is at. They were at Jemoyne, now they're at Ashfield,
Mm.
and we started seeing a physio. And then I think he was 10 months old, where they did a Heinz test. So basically, they're just ticking
Okay.
off things that, seeing what he can and can't do. And it came back as he has CP. But that wasn't the official diagnosis. That was just,
Mm.
on a piece of paper, he has CP. And so, yeah, it was just like noticing he couldn't stand up properly. Yeah, the whole sitting down on his own, he could never sit down. He had to have support.
Mm. What was that like when you're at the physio clinic and they're completing a checklist and they said, "Oh, on paper, we think he's got CP." Now, as a mum myself, I would have went into over analysis mode and started to try to understand how did this happen? What does CP even mean? What's the future like for my son? Could I have avoided it? Can you please tell the listeners what that experience was like for you?
Yeah, that it was hard to hear. Like, I work in the childcare industry, so I've heard of CP before, but I've
Mm.
never, experienced it. So
Mm.
now when I see that piece of paper, I was like to my partner, oh, like he's got CP. But like we Googled it, but you shouldn't always Google, because what you see
No.
on Google, really freaks you out, and you're like, oh my God, like, is this my child? And, every child is so different. So I try to stay away from Google. Um,
Mm.
we had a feeling, like we knew, okay, there's something not right. So that's why we started seeing the physio. It wasn't until he was going to the hospital for his kidney stuff. So we were having to do with all his kidney stuff, and he was on like medications and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't until one of the therapists at the hospital questioned about his development. And I then
Okay.
mentioned, oh, he can't roll, he can't sit on his own, but he's going to a physio, all that kind of stuff. A couple of weeks later, I get an email saying that my son needs to get an early diagnosis for CP. And I was at work at that time, and I was just like what? Like, I don't understand, like Googling it, and like I went into overdrive. I was just like, oh my God, I don't understand. Like, why am I getting this in an email from my doctor?
Mm.
So basically, they called my doctor saying Hugo needs to go get a referral for an early diagnosis. Mind you, no one's told me. Like this is
Yeah.
and I've got it in an email. So how they went about it going through my doctor, then my doctor telling me was just uncalled for because
Yeah.
like I'm his parent at the end of the day. Like I should be
Mm.
the one getting notified. So his physio were a bit shocked as well, like just the way it happened, as in like
Delivered. Mm.
yeah, the way it was delivered, like I think it was just unprofessional. Should have been like a
Mm.
phone call. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I had to got that first phone call like maybe a week later from the early diagnosis clinic, and I had to tell them about my story. And this was in
How old was he
November.
at this stage?
He was 10 months old.
10
And
months
so
old. Wow. So
that
young.
was
Mm.
10 or 9 months old, I'm not sure, but that was in it's actually, yeah, it was 10 months old. That was in December. So we tried to get an appointment and they were like, "Oh, the wait list is March of 2020 of 2023."
Wow.
And we were like, "What?" So you can
Mm.
imagine, we're having to spend our first Christmas stressing
Unsure.
of unsure what's gonna happen, of what level he's on, like all these things. And, it was really, really hard for us to like really focus because,
So now you have an appointment at the development is that the developmental clinic?
yeah, so it's the Cerebral Palsy
Yeah.
Alliance at Randwick.
CPA. Yeah.
Yeah, we had that 13th of March in
You remember the
2023.
date.
Yeah, I remember the date. It just after his first birthday. So he turned 1 and then, yeah, got that appointment. And yeah, that was really hard. Like I knew he had
Yeah.
CP, like we knew. We just like, you have that little like, thing in your brain thinking, oh, maybe he doesn't have CP. Maybe
Yeah.
he's just a little delayed, like, but yeah, when they said he has this type of CP, it was heartbreaking to hear. Like, I
Yeah.
cried. I'm gonna get emotional now. I cried because I thought, so sorry.
No, darling,
Just
it's okay.
I
It's
try
not
to
easy.
like I try to block him knowing when we found out, but, like, it's still like, talking about it is hard, but it's also good
Mm.
to express how I'm feeling because it is
Yeah.
hard. Yeah, so hearing those words that your child has a disability, I instantly blamed myself, and I was like,
Mm.
"Did I do something wrong? Is it because he was a breech baby?" All these things I kept blaming myself, and they're like, You had nothing to do with this." And I was just like,
Yeah.
"But how does he have this disability? Like, I had a healthy
Mm.
pregnancy. He came at 39 weeks, 4 days. Like, I don't understand." So I kept blaming myself for this. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, like that day was just we just cried. We just
Yeah.
cried to our family. My partner cried. Like, my partner doesn't cry. So when he cried to his mum, like, that was really hard to see
Yeah.
him really upset, because you grieve the life you thought you were gonna have,
Yeah.
and that's really hard.
And the expectations and the dreams that you wanted for your child. And I actually interviewed a mother not long ago where she worked on this. She was in overdrive trying to access her son with all these services. But once she got the diagnosis, she felt like she could officially just start being his mum
Yeah,
and be instead of being his caseworker, for example, because you get
100%.
so overwhelmed with the emotions that you want to access the best service immediately. But then it's like, how can I also be his mother too and grieve this process?
Exactly, and I knew, like, once we had
Mm.
that diagnosis, it was just like, bang, bang, all these appointments, like, and you're just
Mm.
still trying to process that your child, who just turned 1 a month ago, has
Yeah.
a disability. Like, what was
Mm.
his life going to look
Yeah.
like, after that? And, like, you have them saying, "Oh, I think he needs to get this Whizzy Bug," which is like a motorized scooter where he has to move, and "I think you should get this, and he needs this." And it's just like, hang on, like, I'm trying to process that my child has a disability,
Yeah.
and now you're telling me he needs this? Like, I just couldn't process it, and it probably took us
Was it
a cou
overwhelming?
yeah, it was very overwhelming. I
Yeah, all
just
this
felt like,
terminology. Yeah.
yeah, and I was just, like, trying to wrap my head around that, my baby's got a disability. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, that was really hard. And yeah, then we started obviously going to physio, and he at first there were certain exercises that he hated doing, but he had to do
Mm.
it. And it was hard
Mm.
seeing him upset, but I knew
Yeah.
this is the best for him. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, it was just really hard. I think the first year of him being diagnosed was a challenge.
What s what services did you access? So you said physio. Did you access,
So
speech or
so
chiro
yeah,
you also said before? Yeah.
we were seeing chiro, and we were seeing then we stopped seeing the chiro and we started seeing physio, and then we started seeing a speech therapist and a OT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And were you doing them weekly treatments? Because I believe with CP, sometimes accessing service as an intensive block is quite more effective. Talk
Yes.
to me about the type of services you received and what was that like for you?
So he didn't see, I'm trying to work back when he started seeing OT. Um, Yeah, he started seeing OT. That's right. He saw OT the month that he was diagnosed. So that
Okay.
end of March, we started seeing
Yeah.
OT and speech. He was already seeing physio from 9 months of age. So
9
we
months
were
of age, yeah.
already seeing physio from then on. And then once we got the official diagnosis, then they were able to work out, okay, what exercises they could incorporate in his therapy sessions moving forward.
Mm.
So I think we were seeing physio like twice, 3 times a week. Just really depended on Hugo's
Mm.
schedule as well. And I went from working part-time to working casual because I was
Yeah.
like,
You just couldn't.
I can't work knowing that my son needs me. Like his support person. I need to be
Mm.
there for my son. And they say like early intervention is key, and that's why I was like, no, I'm taking him to all his appointments.
Yeah.
And then yeah, then we started the ball rolling of getting NDIS funding
Yeah.
because we we
The
were paying
fun
out of my own
NDIS.
money. Yes.
What was that like for you? I'm like, okay, for anyone listening who has started the NDIS journey, the reason why, and Anna and I are laughing, it's because it's quite complicated and it's simple on paper. My son needs these services. Please help me get the funds. But the way parents have to advocate for their child and somewhat prove their child has a disability is quite an exhausting and strenuous journey for these families. So, Anna, please tell anyone listening what your journey was like and any advice for them with NDIS.
Oh, where to begin?
Where to begin?
NDIS. At first they were really hard, really difficult, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest. We, submitted all our letters from OT, speech, physio, all of that. And to get told what your funds were like the first time, seeing that figure, all I can say was I was disheartened. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
heartbroken because my child has a physical disability, and what
Mm,
they gave us to last a year was nothing.
mm,
Like, my son couldn't go to physio twice a week. He couldn't
yeah.
do an hour physio. We had to do 45 minutes once a week. And like we
Mm,
had to really cut down on watch what we were spending our money on his therapies. And we were just like, this is not fair. Like
mm,
I know every other child has a different disability and other kids were getting more, but then my child's got this disability that affects his gross motor and
mm,
he wasn't getting anything. And so 6 months into his funding, we were running really low, and his OT put a fundamental plan together because we complained to NDIS, and they were like, you
mm.
need to put a change
And
of
appeal it.
change of
Yeah, change of
circumstance.
circumstance. Yeah.
So we did a fundamental plan where OT wrote hers, physio wrote his, speech wrote his, and we had to write our story as well, and how
Mm,
hard it is, and like, dropping from part-time work to casual, like everything. And
that
yeah,
detailed. Yeah.
yeah, full detailed, and that took forever. Like,
Mm,
trying to make sure everything was, you know, perfect and making sure we had all the documentations, everything. And yeah, they appealed it and we got what we wanted originally.
Good.
And yeah,
Yay.
so you just have to fight. You just have to fight.
Yeah.
Like you at the end of the day, your child's voice. If you don't
Yeah.
get what you think you're gonna get, you just fight and you just appeal. Like that's all
Yeah.
you can do,
Yeah. Yeah.
because yeah, you
Well, that makes me happy to hear.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's yeah,
No,
that's what you
no,
just
no.
gotta
That makes
do.
me really happy to hear because it just is strenuous and you just have to advocate and be so detailed with how this
Exactly.
disability it not only impacts your child, but your whole family and your circumstances too.
Definitely. And then once we got extra funds, we started going to physio twice a week. We started doing
Yeah.
OT and speech, and like we were like, okay, we can do this. Like, and
Mm.
so it just made life just a bit easier as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to fight.
How Yeah, thank you, Anna. Thanks
That's
for that,
okay.
Anna. How has this diagnosis changed your life now, Anna? We've spoken about this when we met previously, but talk to me for your own personal experience. What's it been like for you as a mother and as a partner too?
It's been challenging. It
Mhm.
definitely has its moments. You can have I can have really good days, and I can have really bad days where he doesn't want to do anything, and it's exhausting, I'm gonna be honest, taking my son to his appointments, you know, now at this if we're talking about now, he goes to physio Monday, Tuesday one week, and then the other week will be Tuesday, Friday. Tuesdays are
Mm.
our busiest because he has OT and physio, so it's back-to-back appointments. Um, and yeah, it's definitely challenging because, I want to be able to take him to the museum, or I want to be able to take him out, but his therapy comes first at the end of the day. And
Mm.
then he goes to daycare 3 days a week. So it really leaves the weekend as well, which is fine, but sometimes I want to be able to spend just time with just him as well.
Mm.
Um, so it's challenging taking him to all his appointments, um, and yeah, it's as a partner as well, like I'm always tired because I've got to
Yeah.
take him to his appointment and I've got to come home and then I've got to prepare dinner and then you could clean the house and then he wants you to play with him. It's just like back and forth, back and forth. And then I sometimes forget about myself and looking after
Yeah.
myself because I'm putting my child first, which is
Yeah.
fine. Like I'm happy to put my son first, but I forget about myself as well. Um,
Yeah.
and so my partner's like really supportive, and he has noticed like if he can see I'm really stressed, I've had a stressful week, he'll be like, look, go and spend a couple of hours on the weekend doing something for yourself. I'll look after
Mm.
Hugo. And like having that time away and a break doing something for myself, I feel like more how do I say? I've become a better parent. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I can breathe. Like I'm doing something for myself, whether that's going to the gym or going to do some shopping or go and get my nails done or whatever. I feel like me again.
Before we dive back in, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Tambakis Physiotherapy. As a speech pathologist and a mum, I'm reminded every day that it really does take a village to raise a child. And having the right people in that village makes all the difference. Tambakis Physiotherapy is one such team. They offer thoughtful, holistic care that supports not only the child, but also the whole family. Whether it's helping little bodies move more freely or supporting parents through recovery and beyond, they understand that real progress happens when the whole support network is considered. If you're looking for a physio or an exercise physiologist who will walk beside you, visit Tambakis Physiotherapy and let them know Wita sent you. Yeah, yeah. That's so important that you raise that any mother puts their child first, especially a child with special needs, because of all the services that they need to access. But you've said something really beautiful there that Focusing on yourself, filling your own cup, meeting your own needs makes you not only a better version of yourself, but a better mother, but a better partner and a better daughter, and all these other hats that we wear. And it's so important that anyone listening, you have to show yourself self love in order to pour your cup into everybody else.
100%, 100%. And like,
Mm.
there'll be times where I was just like to my partner, oh, like, you know, some like he goes out with his friends, not all the time, but like he'll go like a Friday night or a Saturday night, and like I'm with Hugo. So there's times that I just say to him like, oh, like I really want to go and see my friend and just go
Yeah.
hang out. And sometimes me, my friend, and her husband comes along too. We go
Yeah.
for dinner and then we go to time zone, like,
Yeah.
30-year-olds going to time zone. But it's fun, like, it's just, like, I feel like a kid again, like, going to these,
Yeah.
like play these games, and it just feels so nice just to go do something,
Yeah.
and I'm just focused on, like, just enjoying my time with my friends and, all that, and, like, when I come home, like, it'll be the next day, like, Hugo wakes up, like, "Where'd you go, mummy?" And like, "I went here," and
Time
he
zone.
just loves it. Yeah, I know.
I think that's so cute.
Yeah, I just love it. Or like you go to the movies or like stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I always like when partner and when I was pregnant with Hugo, my partner and I both said, after we have Hugo, we got to do date night once a month. We did date night once a month for 4 months, and now it's just like gone out the
Once every
window.
6 months.
Yeah, like literally. And I said to him, I said, we need to do a date night or a date
Mm.
day because I feel like because we're so busy with work, I'm busy with Hugo and work, we forget about spending time with each other. Like,
Mm.
we put Hugo to bed, we sit on the lounge, I'm on my phone, he's on his phone, the TV's on. It's like we need to like get that connection back. So
Yeah.
it sounds like it's so important to also do something with your couple, with your partner as well, sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we're sometimes like, let's go see which grandparent's free to look after Hugo, which they're really fine with that. And like we go and do something, whether it's going for lunch or maybe not time zone, I don't know if he'll
Yeah.
like that, or like going to the movies or going to bowling, like that kind of stuff. It's
Yeah.
just brings back to when it was just us two.
But just you. You went back to the
Yeah.
beginning, to the beginning. And I
Yeah,
love how you
definitely.
mentioned that because when you're stuck in this therapy bubble of constant appointments, always focusing on your child, and you are in like this rut of continuous going around in a circle that you forget yourself, but also your partner. And it's so important that you focus on each other because both of you would then be better parents for Hugo too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, and that's so
I love
important.
that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
important that you mentioned that. So, anyone listening, it's so important. And you're not selfish. I think one aspect here, you're not being selfish. If you put yourself first, you're actually being selfless. So, always focus on yourself. Now, Anna, talk to me through about how you are coping now with the changes that Hugo's going through, and how do you deal with the stigma from society as well?
Yeah, the change now, I'm finding it harder now with him having a disability. I found it hard in the beginning. I would put him in the pram or the trolley, and there has, like I was telling you last week when I spoke to you, how there was this one lady questioned me as
Yeah,
to
tell me
if
about
my son
that.
had a disability. So Hugo was in a trolley. We were at Kmart, his favorite shop.
Who isn't?
um,
I think everyone loves Kmart.
yeah, he always tells my mum, I bought a car from Kmart," and I was like, "Shh, not meant to say that." But yeah, so we were at the shops. He was in the trolley, and this lady came up to me and, obviously like, "Oh, your son's so cute. He's so happy." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And she then said, "I bet he's running around and keeping you busy."
Mm,
And that was the first year with him being diagnosed, and normally I just brush it off and I would like, "Oh yeah, he is," because sometimes it was just easier to say to someone, "Yeah, my child's running," than having to
mm.
explain to them, "My child has a disability." So there is a few times where I did just say, "Yes, they are running around, keeping me busy." And
Mm.
when I would leave that conversation, I just was like, oh my God, why am I lying that my child is
Mm.
running when he isn't? And I just felt guilty. And I'm like, no, I should be saying my child has a disability. Like, I
Mm.
shouldn't be
Mm.
ashamed that my child has a disability. And so after that, I then just told people, oh, he's got a disability. He can't walk, he can't run, or he can't stand on his own. And yeah, this lady was like, oh, are you sure? And I was like, yes.
No, I just made
And
this up.
yeah, I was like, yes, I'm sure my son has a disability. He's got CP. And she's like, oh, but I thought, and like I knew where she was coming across. She thought that when you with CP, you know, it's, in a wheelchair, can't talk, nothing like that. And I was like,
Mm.
and then I then had to explain, I was like, there's actually different severities of CP. And
Yeah.
like just me explaining that to her, she then was a bit taken back. She's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. So she apologized, but then she
Yeah.
realized that you shouldn't be asking those type of questions. Um, so she apologized multiple times. I'm like, look, it's fine. Like, no one would ever think my child has a disability. Um,
No, no.
no. And so there was that odd few questions here or there. Now that he's 3 and he's still in a pram, I get a few questions like, oh, like I'll be in the lift full of people, and there's like one
Mm.
person, oh, isn't he a bit too big for the pram? And I just sit there and I just smile because I'm like, I'm not telling all these people in
Yeah.
the lift, my son has a disability. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just like, okay. And then I go to physio and I was like, I just got asked, why is my son's too big to be in a pram? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just all those things. So now it's getting harder.
I wonder why those people have to make those comments. It's like a somewhat slap in the face, but it's like, who gave you the right to say such a comment like that when the intention wasn't positive? It wasn't helpful at all.
No, not at all. And like, I'll give you this. Yesterday I was at the post office and this lady, Hugo, was in his pram asking me to buy something at the post office, and I was like,
As they do.
"Oh," I was like, "There's no toys." Like, lucky we were on the section where there was no toys. There's
Mm.
homeware stuff, and I was like, "Oh, there's no toys here." And the lady in front was saying, "Oh, your son's so beautiful. He's so happy." I'm like, "Thank you." And she's like, "How old is he?" And before I even said, she's like, "Is he 18 months?" And I was like, "No, he's 3."
Doesn't
And
look that
she,
tiny.
I know. And then she said, is he running around? And I was like,
Mm.
no, he has a disability. He can't walk and stand. And she was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, that's okay. I said, but he goes to physio and he's doing really good and he's learning to walk. And then she mentioned which physio does he go to, the one in Des So I knew she was referring
She
to the
knows,
one,
yeah.
Hugo's one, where they were originally in Des now they're in Ashford. And I said yes. And
Mm.
she's like, well, where you are is amazing. They're wonderful therapists. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
Oh, that's nice.
But it was just really nice. Like she apologized as well.
Mm.
But I feel like, spoke to Hugo's OT today about it. And I was like, I would never ask a parent, is your child running? Because you do not
Mm.
know what that family is going through, So it's
Yeah.
like you should never ask a woman, when are you having a baby?
New
Like,
baby. Or when are you getting
those kind of,
married? Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah, when are you getting married? Those kind of
Mm.
things. Like, now that I have a child that has a disability, I would never ask a child who's in a pram, similar age than Hugo or a little bit older, whether they're walking, because the
Mm.
last thing, like hearing people question as to why my son's in a pram and why is he not walking and running around, it brings me back to when
Yeah.
we first got him diagnosed. And sometimes I like
Yeah.
block out that my son has a disability. I'm like, my child's normal. He's like any other child, but
Mm.
just that constant, like the minute people ask, is he running around? And then me having to be like,
Yeah.
no, he's got a disability. Just like
Mm.
makes me relive when we first found out.
Yeah. It's like it takes you back to March 2023 when they officially
Yep.
told you his diagnosis, and you're reliving those emotions that you experienced, and it's not a nice feeling, especially for your mental
No.
health. Did you receive any support to support you, mental support, emotional support to help you with coming to terms with the grief of your child's diagnosis?
Um, and I think like when we were at the hospital, we had the OT, the speech therapist, the neurologist, and the physio, and they did offer, the social worker. But I now looking back, I feel like I should have gone and seen
Mm.
someone just to talk to, because I
Mm,
feel like
mm, mm.
I'm that type of person that bottles things up. And
Yeah,
when I'm down,
most
then
parents do. Yeah.
I let it all come out. And I'm like, I shouldn't do that. I need to tell people what I'm actually feeling
Yeah.
and what I'm going through, all that kind of stuff. So my partner and I, we always check in all the time with each
Mm.
other. You know, there's times
You
where,
know it's not too late, Anna. You can still
I
get
know,
services to support you. Because I feel like just by listening to you with your how strong you are with your advocacy, you are still a human just as much as your son.
exactly.
You still have needs just as your son. And your needs are equally just important as anybody else. And recognize your own emotional needs are important, and getting them supported and addressed will help you immensely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been like thinking about that
Mm,
lately. But
mm.
that's the thing. It's like,
Do you
where do
attend
I
any
fit it
support
in?
groups?
No.
Yeah, where do you fit it in? That's the question.
Yeah,
Where do you
that's
fit
right.
it
Where do
in?
I fit it
Yeah.
in? So
Mm,
that's the hard thing. The good thing about what I do for work now, I'm a preschool teacher, so my work
mm,
closes all school holidays. So when Hugo's
yeah,
at daycare 3 days a week, that's my time to do
your
something for
time.
myself, whether it's going to the gym, getting my hair done, or just like having a day at home, just like doing the housework, but
By
also just like
yourself.
sitting down and watching my
Mm,
TV shows. And
mm.
I know people say cleaning is therapeutic. I find cleaning, like doing the washing, I find that so
Oh,
therapeutic. And that's just like
can I just
my me
say, it's
time.
like my happy bubble. Yeah, yeah. Nothing makes me happy than the sound of the scrubbing brush. And I hate to say this and everyone listening, but the smell of like bleach in the bathroom, it just is like, yes, they had the rooms clean.
Well, where we
I'm
live
not a
in our
toxin, but
unit,
I just love that smell.
our laundry is actually downstairs. So you have to go downstairs, put the laundry on. So sometimes I like take my phone and I'm like, I'm gonna hang some washing. And I do. And I literally put my TV show on while
As
I'm
you're watching
hanging the
washing.
washing. And then I sit down. I'm like, oh, like, and then my partner's like, why do you take so long? I was like, oh, I'm doing some more washing.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
just
yeah.
get
Love
so
it.
focused. Yeah. But it's
Isn't
like,
it funny how women
I
just
know.
find different things that spark our joy in comparison to dads?
I know, like my partner, his way of, just doing something for himself is going to the gym.
Yeah,
He goes every morning. Me is, you know, putting clothes away or finding
yeah,
things to do at home, that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's just,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I wanted to ask, if you were to go back to March 2023 now, what would you say to yourself?
I would say to myself that everything's going to be okay, that you
Yeah.
can do this, um, that, when the doctors said, you know, he may not walk, he may not be able to do this kind of stuff. Like, just remember that, yes, that's just information that they're giving you, but you just got to
Mm,
trust the process because, from when the doctors told me when he was 13 months that he needs to go in this motorized wheezy bug, I was like,
mm,
no, I'm not putting my child in this motorized seat. This is early intervention. I want to see where my son can get to. So
mm,
seeing what my son can do now, obviously when he was first diagnosed and when they were saying he needs this supported mobility, I'm like, but look at what he's doing now. Like,
mm.
yeah, I would just say to myself, like, myself in 2023, like, you've got this, like, whatever's meant to be will be. And
Yeah,
yeah, just know that you just got to trust the process because
yeah.
when we first found out, we were thinking like, oh my God, is he ever going to be able to walk? Like, you just think of what's going to happen.
What
You
the
know,
worst case? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what's the worst case? And my partner goes to the gym almost every day. He used to
Mm,
play basketball from a young teenager or young to like, but after he finished school, like very athletic. And so when he found out, our son had disability, he was taken aback because, you know, he thought he would go to the park, kick a ball with our son. But then when you
mm,
find out your child's got a disability and may not be able to do that, he was just like, oh my God, like that gonna look like? But
mm.
seeing what Hugo is able to do now, just really amazes us. Like,
Yeah.
he was seeing Cerebral Palsy Alliance up until he was 2. So we would have like the 13-month appointment, the 18-month, the 24-month, like, then now he goes to rehab to kids, and we see them every 6 months. Our
Mm.
last appointment, we saw them, they mentioned he should go in a motorized Wizzy Bug again because
Yeah.
I mentioned at daycare he wanted to go on a bike, and his daycare
Like,
teachers were
yeah.
like, "How are we going to try and figure out how to do this?" And they worked out. And I then think I should have just shut my mouth and not said anything because I was like, "Oh my God, like we don't want this Wizzy Bug. Like he is doing so well
No,
already.
without it.
Why am I going to put my son?" Look, I'm all for it. If he needs it in like 5 years' time, that's
Mm,
fine. But right now, he's only 3 years old. Like,
mm,
early intervention is key. Like, I
mm.
want to try and see what he can do. If I put him in this Wizzy Bug, he's going to get used to it and not want to do any exercise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that.
Yeah, so seeing what he's able to do now and videos is just like is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, start
It's
on
like
Friday. Sorry?
it's like he's being now defined through his ability, not through his disability.
Yeah, definitely. And like
Yeah.
the first two, like last year when 2023 was hard because you'd get him to do exercise and he just didn't want to do it. He didn't
Yeah, of course.
understand. He thought, oh, like, he would cry and like it just broke my heart because it's just like
Yeah.
this is not fair, you know?
Mm,
Now that he's older, he's able to understand. It's a bit easier. He would say, like, we would say, like, Hugo, let's do some walking. And he'd be like, no.
mm. Yeah.
Now he's like, Daddy, Mummy, I want to do walking. I want to do
Mm.
standing. Let's play basketball. And I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, sure. Let's do this. And now he's initiating these things.
Yeah, I
So it's
love that.
really, he's got a really better understanding of why he's doing why he has
Yeah.
to do these exercises.
How does he cope when children come up to him and question, "Why can't you play like me?" or "Why can't you do things like me?"
I don't know how it is at daycare. I know all the
Yeah.
kids just treat him as equal as any other
Yeah.
child. My niece will come up and be like, "Oh, why doesn't Hugo walk?" And like I will explain to her, and she's like, "Oh, that's okay." And there's times where Hugo would crawl. He originally crawled um, on his stomach to move around. Now he crawls on his knees. And my nephew and both my nephews on my partner's side and my side would get on his level and crawl like him. And they're like, "Look, we're crawling like Hugo." So like it
Isn't that
is
so
so
beautiful?
nice to see that.
Yeah, I think it's just
Yeah,
so beautiful that kids just don't hold judgment. Kids are just so innocent that, sure, Hugo can't walk, we'll do what Hugo does so we can engage
exactly.
and connect. And the judgment comes from the adults more than anything. So if we could be childlike ourselves, we would reduce the stigma associated with disability and encourage these children to be just like anybody else as well.
Hugo finds it hilarious. He just laughs. He's like,
Yeah,
"Mummy,
I think
look, they're crawling like me." And I'm like, "Yeah, good job." So
yeah, that's so
they love
cute.
it. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, no, that's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. Anna, if any mother or any parent is listening to this podcast and they're going through the same process as what you did or currently, what advice would you give them?
Oh, Um, I would say to them that mm, that there is support out there. There are
Yeah.
Facebook groups. I do follow 2 Facebook groups, and
Mhm.
yes, it was I at first was like, "Oh, do I?" Like, I don't know, because it can be confronting,
Yeah.
as well, and so I just thought, "You know what? Like, I'm in the same boat as they are going through," Their child may have a different level of CP than my child has, but
Yeah.
we're both going through the
Mm.
same emotions. We're both feeling the same thing, and so I followed them, and it's so nice seeing, like, you just ask questions and the response you get back is just really nice, knowing that there's those
Yeah.
support groups as well. And just, yeah, like, just talking to people as well. I found talking to people at my son's physio, like some of the parents,
Mm.
like, you would talk to and you'd have conversation, and it was just so nice just to talk to them about
It's like find your
any.
community. Find your
Exactly.
community where you have a sense of belonging and similarities, where you feel that you are not alone. You can feel heard, seen, and a sense of belonging too. And no one understands what you're going through unless they're going through it too, right? So
Yeah,
find people who are
exactly.
alike with the same experiences so you can bounce off each other.
Yeah, definitely. And, like, even, like, just talking to your family, talking to your friends,
Mm.
they may having that support is really good, but also then talking to people who are going through the same thing
Yeah.
is good as well. And, like, they're able to relate with how you're feeling as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's why I also made Hugo's Instagram, because I wanted
Yeah.
to speak to other mums who are going through the same thing, just like
Mm.
talking to them, whether it be like if you've had a hard day or just anything
Yeah.
really. Um, because I was just like, I've seen a few other kids' pages and I was like, wow, like I'm going to do the same for my child,
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to
I
show
love that.
his journey of what he can do and just talk
Yeah.
to other mums. And like I spoke to you like last week when I shared Hugo's videos, I had a mum
Mm.
from the UK message me. I've never met this
Wow.
lady. And she said that she was like, "You give me hope that my child's gonna be okay. Your son inspires my child." And I was like, wow, like
Mm.
that's so beautiful,
It's so
So
beautiful.
yeah, it's really nice,
Yeah.
being able to connect to people in other side of the
Platform.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's going through something and just your act of kindness or just showing vulnerability has helped somebody, and that's such a powerful thing to do as a human. So thank you for
Yeah,
being
no,
vulnerable,
definitely.
Anna.
That's
And thank you
okay.
for coming on Wine with Wita. I'm
That's
sure
all
it
right.
will support so many families. And anyone that wants to follow Anna and Hugo's story, I will tag Hugo's Instagram on the Instagram posts, but also in the show notes where you can reach out to Anna. Thank you, Anna, for coming on Wine with Wita today. It has been
Thank you for having
remarkable
me.
hearing your story. Before we finish up, I ask all my
Sure.
guests this question. If, Anna, you were to be a better version of yourself tomorrow, what word will you apply to yourself today?
I don't know. Oh,
I
put me on
didn't
the
tell you
spot.
this, got you prepared for it.
No. Um, so what would I be, did you say?
If you were to be a better version of yourself tomorrow, what
Yeah.
word will you apply to yourself today?
Oh, I don't know. There's too many to think of. I feel like I've been put on the spot now. I'm like,
You
oh.
have, you have.
Um,
I'll give you a few
mm,
examples of people
sure.
said. They've said adversity, they've said resilience, they said grace, compassion, patience, warrior. Some have said faith. Some
I
have
would
said
be,
patience.
I think I'd be patient. I feel
Yeah,
like sometimes, with everything going on, it's very hard to be patient because it's just like,
yeah, of
it's
course.
like bang, go, 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 go. So I would think I would be patient, and
Yeah,
really take a step back and be like, you know what, like everything will fall into place how it's meant to be. And you just got to be
yeah,
patient, things will happen in the right time. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, just, yeah, I definitely would be patient. in
Oh,
this
see,
everything that's going on. Yeah.
you found a word, which is
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, sometimes I have to like, yes, there's a few times where I just feel like I'm impatient. I'm like, oh my God, like what's
It's a
happening?
lot,
And
eh?
it is
Yeah,
a lot. It can be a lot, but then I sit back and like, I'm like, I just gotta be grateful for
yeah.
everything in front of me and just be patient,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right. Exactly right. Well, thank you, Anna, for being a beautiful guest on Wine with Wita. And I'm sure your story will support so many individuals that follow Wine with Wita internationally and nationally here in Australia. So thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it. And for everybody else, another episode of Wine with Wita will be brought to your ears next week. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Wine with Wita. I hope you found some new inspiration, learnt something new, or gained a fresh perspective. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you please leave a 5-star review, as it really helps the show get in the ears of new listeners, plus it takes 5 seconds. If you're keen for more strategies and insights, then head over to Instagram and follow RS Speech Pathology.